Hello and welcome. In my last video, I talked about our pharyngeal arches and pharyngeal membrane. If you have not seen that video, then click on the button and watch the video now. Today I'm going to talk about our pharyngeal pouches and pharyngeal cleft. As you can see in this photo, this is our pharyngeal clefts, because as I said that this lateral part, in the lateral part of this pharyngeal arches or the pharyngeal pouches, you can see the group formation or the depression area. This is known as pharyngeal cleft. Subsequently, we are getting 4 pharyngeal clefts. Among that, first pharyngeal cleft remains, and it forms the epithelial lining of our external acoustic meatus along with the cuticular lining of the tympanic membrane. Okay, what is tympanic membrane? I already talked about in my earlier videos. You can check those. And what about the second, third, fourth? The second, third, fourth, actually what happens? Mesenchymal tissue from the second pharyngeal arch rapidly overgrows and covers this second, third, fourth pharyngeal cleft laterally. So these 3 clefts burrows or gets buried deep inside these mesenchymal tissue or mesenchymal membrane, which is originated mainly from the second pharyngeal arch. Now this buried pharyngeal cleft subsequently forms a gap area which is known as pharyngeal sinus. But we are talking about this pharynx, and in the pharynx we are getting ultimately the cervical vertebra. So this pharyngeal sinus presents near to the cervical vertebra. That's why it is also known as cervical sinus. Okay. Now within few months this cervical sinus disappears and our neck becomes smooth. So this is overall story of our pharyngeal cleft. And now the pharyngeal pouches. As you can see in this photo, and you already know about that, the depression area or groove area in between each pharyngeal arches are known as pharyngeal pouch. So we are getting 5 pharyngeal pouch. Among that, the last one, the 5th pharyngeal pouch is very small and rudimentary structure. Now before I talk about this chart, you have to understand that each pouch has 2 parts. One is ventral part and dorsal part. Ventral means anterior, dorsal means posterior. Okay, each pouch has anterior and posterior part. Okay, now as you can see in this entire chart, you can see that from the ventral part of the first pouch, it's actually obliterated due to the formation of the tongue. How tongue forms, I will talk about later. Dorsal part of the first and second pouch merges together or fuses together and forms tubotympanic recess. From that we are getting auditory tube. Okay, then middle ear cavity, mastoid antrum, mastoid air cells, and inner mucosal lining of the tympanic membrane. Okay, and from the ventral part of the second pharyngeal pouch we are getting the epithelial lining of the tonsil along with the tonsillar crypts. From the dorsal part of the third pharyngeal pouch we are getting the inferior parathyroid gland, and from the ventral part we are getting the thymus gland. From the dorsal part of the fourth pharyngeal pouch we are getting the superior part of the parathyroid gland, and from the ventral part of the fourth pharyngeal pouch along with the fifth pharyngeal pouch, they both merges together or fuses together and forms ultimobranchial body, which is also known as caudal pharyngeal complex. Caudal means it remains a little bit downward. Okay, cranial caudal. Okay, so caudal pharyngeal complex. Now from this entire caudal pharyngeal complex, which is also known as ultimobranchial body, from these we are getting thymus elements, then lateral thyroid elements, and parafollicular cells of the thyroid gland. Okay, see you soon in my next video. Till then, bye.